I wanted to pop in here and give you a quick course sneak preview that we have coming up on our website in the next couple of weeks. And it's about how to choose the best shutter speeds to blur propellers on planes. Now, what we're looking at doing here is making sure that we choose a particular shutter speed. So you're going to need shutter priority, which is on S on some cameras, TV on others, because we have to take control of the shutter speed. And if you use any other mode, certainly program mode, certainly aperture mode, then that shutter speed will fluctuate. Now, if you're familiar with manual mode and you know how to compensate for all the settings being locked down, then yes, you can use manual mode for that as well. But for most newbies, we're talking about shutter priority mode, so you can choose the shutter speed. Now, you also need to be able to keep that shot, that plane, really big in the frame itself. So you're going to need longer lenses to help make this happen, because the planes are way up in the air oftentimes and the normal kit lens won't do it. So on a crop sensor camera, you're probably looking at something in the range of 250 here. If you have a Micro Four Thirds, something in the range of 150. Now, by the way, 250 multiplied by 1.5, the math never really works in my head. So it's something like 375 or something like that. Oh yeah, sure, look, didn't I do it there already? And then 150 on the Micro Four Thirds, then that's coming in at 300. And so full frame, you would need something in around 300 as well. So getting those lenses, now there are kit lenses you can get for that. There are very expensive lenses you can get for that. So really we just want to test this out. So any lens you have available to you that will go that far is really something worth considering. So let's have a look at these series of photographs. So we have 1/1000 of a second here, and we're at 250 millimeters. This is on a full frame. And that gives us just a little bit of blur going on those propellers. Now, it's important to understand that there are differences between turboprops, modern turboprops. They spin very, very fast, and then older propeller planes like this from World War II, they're not going quite as fast in real terms. In this case here, we're also at 1/1000 of a second at 250 mil, and you can see that we have blur going on the propeller there. Now, the whole idea about blur is that we want to give the sense that the plane is moving. Now, if the propellers are just pin sharp, our brain knows when we see it up in the air, it's flying, it's not falling down, but we don't get that sense of drama going on with it. So those shutter speeds are needed to be able to get that kind of effect. If we can start dropping the shutter speed, now this plane is obviously on the ground and therefore they're not spinning as fast. 1/400 of a second is getting a really nice spin on the blades there. Now we're into the turboprops, and they're up in the air and they're doing a slow fly past. So 1/200 of a second. And really the goal is to try to get as much of a disc as you can, because that's where you get that sense that the plane is actually really flying very fast. So that's 1/200 of a second, and that's a 600 mil on a full frame. So it's way off in the distance, and I really need a long lens to be able to do that. This shot here, 1/160th of a second. I'm on a lens that I'm not quite as long as I would like, so there's a bit of a crop going on here. But 1/160th of a second on this older plane here, and you could just see that, that almost a full disc going on there. And this is a water carrier, so it's for fire duty, and you can just see that same shutter speed is getting a really nice plume going on that water. Again, another older plane here, and 1/125th of a second is getting us that nice kind of semi just disc going on there. Then 1/125th of a second. And here's this turboprop again, 1/100 of a second. So in those kind of ranges, turboprops, you kind of can get away with a slightly faster shutter speed. With older planes, I say World War II, you're going to need those slower shutter speeds. And then when it comes to helicopters, you can actually drop that shutter speed right down, because those rotors are not moving anywhere near as fast. And you can see here I'm at 1/80th of a second for here. I'm at 1/60th of a second for here. So I'm getting some nice blur going on those blades. So the shutter speed is the key. And we said before, and I'm a firm proponent of this, photography is a strange mix of the technical and the creative. But if you don't take control of the creative or the technical side, the creative is very hard to be consistent. If you don't know what made something happen, then it's going to be very difficult to repeat it. So that's what these shutter speeds are about. That range, you certainly won't go too far wrong at 1/200 of a second down to 1/125th, 100 of a second with older propeller planes. Helicopters can go that little bit slower as well because their rotors are not moving as fast. So this is coming from a course we have coming up. It's available for purchase on the website, released in 2 weeks, Blur Props. There's a course link that I'll put up in the comments. So that's the course sneak preview. How do you choose the best shutter speeds to blur propellers on planes? As always, if you've any comments, just pop them. I keep doing this. If you've any questions, just pop them in the comments.